Well, there are some problems that are really tough to solve. Some might say impossible. But the fact of the matter is that it's who is trying to solve the problem that really makes a difference. Hey, before we start solving the world's problems this morning, welcome to Mornings with Bishop Robert. Thanks for joining me. You know, you're always welcome here in my study. My goal is to introduce people to the Jesus they never knew, and then help them get to know Him and His Word personally and better. So if our time together today speaks to your heart, let me invite you to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Also, if you join our email list, you'll get a free copy of my book, Count to One, God's Plan for Christian Unity. You'll get Mornings with Bishop Robert sent directly to your inbox every day, and a bunch of other great benefits. So just click the link in the description and you'll see what they are. Well, some things simply defy our logic, or at least the logical power we can bring to bear on it right now. It won't always be that way, but, well, that's a different lesson. Calculus was never one of my favorite words. I mean, to be honest, math as a whole has never been my strong suit, which is probably why God had me write a book called Count to One, because that's stretching it for me. I remember my first calculus class vividly. It was a requirement for my undergraduate degree, which meant I had to pass the class in order to qualify for the overall degree. So I was sitting in the classroom when the teacher walked in at the start of the first session. After announcing the title to a room filled with 100 or so students, he said, "Put your hand up if this is your second or greater time trying to pass this class." Over half the class raised their hands, and my spirit sunk. But it was about to get worse. "Keep them up if this is your third or greater time." Many of the hands remained up. "Fourth or greater?" Still quite a few hands were raised. I wanted to throw up. Then the teacher snapped his fingers as he said, "If you think for that long you're going to spend less than 3 to 4 hours out of the classroom working on calculus, for every hour you spend with me in the classroom, you'll be sitting here next semester raising your hand." I spent the rest of the semester essentially living in the mathematics lab of the college. Though calculus never made sense, then or now, I did manage to pass the course. Not by much, mind you, but I passed. And I'm not alone. And there's lots of people that can just sort of squeak by in the realm of mathematics. Well, today's verse says, "While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us." You want to know something else that doesn't make sense to a lot of people? It's the message of the cross. Why would He do it? What does it matter? People sometimes try to figure it out, attempting to plug the message of the cross into something that, well, at least makes sense to them. And that's what the people in Jesus' day did too. You know, one group thought Jesus should have come in amazing power. They wanted Him to overthrow Rome's heavy-handed rulership. They were looking for signs of power and glory, miracles. His servant's heart didn't make sense to them. They wanted God to force people to stop being evil and do the right thing. I mean, hey, if God is God, why does He allow all this evil? Another group wanted Jesus to explain everything with such clarity and overpowering wisdom that He would make sense and be appealing to the intellectuals among us, the teachers and the philosophers. They can get this mess straightened out, so they say. But not this silly parable-using rabbi who delivers his instruction by discussing sowing seeds in fields and other such nonsense. I mean, really. Why doesn't he just give us a logic problem we can wrap our immense minds around? Paul the Apostle saw the same issues. When he wrote about the people who were seeking signs of power or incredible wisdom, he said, "We preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to the Jews, foolishness to the Gentiles. But to those whom God has called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God and the wisdom of God. For the foolishness of God is wiser than human wisdom, and the weakness of God is stronger than human strength." The truth of the matter is that calculus is one of the most powerful applications of mathematics on the planet. There are calculations of slopes and curves and velocities and tangents you simply cannot possibly measure without calculus. Even if you don't personally understand it, that doesn't change the problem or the solution. Well, the truth of the matter is that Christ is powerful. Christ is wise. Even if the message of the cross seems like foolishness to you, even if you don't personally understand it, that doesn't change the problem of your sin or the only solution available to you. Do I understand fully why Jesus came not to be served, but to be a servant? No, I don't. But I am learning more and more about how to be a servant like him as each day passes. Can I plumb all the depths and the complexities of how and why he gave his life as a ransom for yours and mine? Well, truth is that compared to the riches of that topic, I can't even scratch the surface. But I do know that he changed my life. I mean, why doesn't God just eliminate all the evil in the world? Well, first of all, if God decided to eliminate everything tainted by evil at midnight tonight, there'd be no one left to read Mornings with Bishop Robert tomorrow. There'd be no one left to write it either. God's answer to evil was to eliminate its eternal impact on everyone who decided to accept that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us, and begin to follow Jesus. Well, back to my calculus illustration as I wrap up. Thanks to the math lab, I was able to actually pass some of the tests I was given in class. Not all of them, but some. But there was a massive final test coming, and it covered everything. And I had to pass the final exam. No passing grade meant no degree. Period. Well, with Jesus, there's a final exam coming as well. The only problem is, you and I, we've already failed it. Our only hope is that he takes the test for us. He will pass. Only he will pass that test. We rely upon him or we fail. Period. And by the way, you and I only get one shot at this test. There's not going to be any sitting in makeup classes in purgatory trying to pass it again and again. Now, you can argue about the foolishness of the cross if you wish. You can debate its shape and its form. You can get theological and argue whether Jesus carried the complete cross, composed of the stipes and the patibulum through the city of Jerusalem, or only the cross piece. You can do many, many things and then fail the exam because you've been so busy debating the logic of the cross, you miss the power and the wisdom of both the giver and the gift. Or you can take the approach I took to calculus. Do what needs to be done to pass the test. You can accept the fact that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Jesus came to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. But the other side of giving is always receiving. Receive the gift he came to give you and begin to follow him. It's the only way to pass the final exam. Problem solved. Wow, I am way over time this morning. But I've got to ask you to help me introduce people to the Jesus they never knew and help them get to know him and his word personally and better. Please do like this video. It will help more people see it. Then click follow or subscribe so that you and I can get together every day. And one more thing, please, please share this video with a friend. Because as you do, you're part of the team touching more than 1 million hearts all over the world with the love of Jesus. Thank you for helping.